Welcome one, welcome all. This is episode 122 of Keeping It Real. I'm your host, jackkadis. Thanks so much for being here. It's honestly, it's a pleasure. It's my pleasure. This one should be great. We're outside. You know what more could you ask for? Life is really fantastic. Life is really fantastic for me right now. I feel like just so many good things are happening. I have a fantastic, I don't know, is 1 year long term? I want to say fantastic long term goal. I don't even know what long term really is anymore, but I have in a year, I plan to move to New York City. Right now, I think me and my best friends are making the most of the time that we all have while we all still live together. It's coming to an end. Here I am doing Keeping It Real outside for the third day in a row, and we've never done. Actually, that's not true. We've done Keeping It Real outside when we used to have guests, but ever since we made the transition to solo, we have been inside, and here we are outside, and I realize like how awesome of a change this has been. Sometimes the clear answers are like right in front of your face, and you just you don't end up landing on them until you do, and you realize, oh, I could have been doing this the whole time. I just had pizza. I get paid on Thursday. Tomorrow it's a good shift at work with people that make the time fly by, and it's green. It's a green light for me here in the life of me. I hope you're doing well. I lately have been contemplating the scope of this reach, because it's like, yeah, every episode, I think there's about 3 to 4 people that listen to it. Now, I don't know if these are the same people. I doubt it. I think maybe 1 or 2 people listen to this consistently every day, or at least every other day. But then, we're getting to the point where it's like there's 122 of these episodes. They're all on a playlist, and the playlist is linked very clearly in the description of each episode. And even if, playlist aside, the algorithm is, constantly assessing each episode for watch time and click-through percentage. And it may be that an episode of mine from 2 months ago is viewed tonight, and I don't know, like it's I don't go on that. There's like a past 48 hours section of YouTube analytics in the studio page, and I don't go on it too often. I went on it the other day and found that episode, I think it was episode 101, it's get like 20 views one night, and that was like 3 weeks ago. And that's kind of crazy because, I don't think about it like that. I film an episode, like I only think about like this episode, So I wonder, where are these people coming from, and how many people are there? It's nice to be here. It doesn't really matter, it doesn't really matter. But it is nice to be here. What is there to talk about, guys? I mean, it's just me and you, I wonder what you're doing. If you're my mom, shout out to Mrs. Kadis. My mom in this episode, if you're a frequent listener and you're not her, has become sort of a character, right? You probably, I don't know how deeply you listen to this, you might just have it on in the background, but if I were to get analytical about it myself, I'd say that she's a character in the sense that, like, I probably bring her up in certain ways and certain times, and I don't even realize, and, like, it's, like, this weird consistency where it's, like, I always land on, like, hey, Mom. So, for the sake of that, hey, Mom, what's up? I hope your feet hit the ground good, and the air is crisp, and the trees are pretty. She always is. I think she goes on a walk when she listens to these, so that's why I said that. Flew my drone again for the second day in a row. Shaved, read a page of a book, ran a mile. And there's so much more. I feel like I feel really good about myself. This is the thing. This is the thing about being human, or at least being me. I talk about in previous episodes like the Goldilocks zone in certain aspects, and like, trying to correct what you think may be a fault, and like maybe you overcorrect, and it's like finding that middle ground, right? And things that tie into that, like when you're doing things, like if you do it for somebody else, you do it fast. If you do it for yourself, you do it slow. I'm not really necessarily too versed in, sorry, someone just walked out of their apartment. This is like, I'm very much in public, which is an interesting, what would be very interesting. There's a door, like, I'd say 6-7 feet from me. Someone's front door is right there, and it's someone's bedroom window. So like, I hope I'm not too loud. But hey, what can I say, man? We got keeping it real to do. So I got distracted because someone walked out of their front door across in the building across from me. But hey, technically this is our porch, and this is my bedroom window. So, what are you gonna do? This is my front door. So when it comes to like, I don't know what you think of yourself, but it is likely that you think something. So for me, I think like, let's see what's going on lately. So lately it's like I wonder. So I feel like right now, right, I feel pretty good about myself, and I feel pretty good about myself when I wake up, and I feel pretty good about myself, at work and throughout my day, and I just feel pretty good about myself. And I wonder if like I feel too good about myself, because I feel like this is sort of a correction that I've made, and I'm not even sure if it's like over the past 2-3 years or over the past month. Like I don't know. It seems like more of a not long term, but like it seems like more of a 2-3 year stretch. Like it seems like I'm sort of growing into like being cool with myself. And then I wonder if like that's an overcorrection, because for a long time I really beat myself up. And if that's an overcorrection, then like maybe I need to correct. It's like steering a ship. You know what I'm saying? And I really like, I said a second ago, I was talking about how if you do something for someone else, you do it fast. If you do something for yourself, you do it slow. So you can do things both for yourself and someone else, and I would argue that that helps you find the perfect pace. So, that's what's on my, catch it. That's what's on my mind. I haven't checked my email. I know in previous episodes I've been like, email me, talk to me. Lara from the UK. See, I have a feeling that you probably found me from the episode 101 that just got past 100 views, and there's like 10 or so hours of watch time. Thank you for your message on Instagram. It was very nice to read that, and it's crazy that you live in the United Kingdom. I would love to have like a long list of like people, like if you've ever seen the radio show Car Talk by on NPR, or like maybe the Therapy Gecko. Is that I think it is Therapy Gecko or Therapy Lizard. The guy that puts on green face paint and in a gecko costume, and just helps people out with their life's troubles. I'd love to like get into that sort of thing. And I wonder if my audience is big enough. Like if you're out there and you're listening to this, then it would be a big deal. You could start something here. You could start something and it can be anonymous. You don't have to attach your name to it. Matter of fact, I would encourage you to keep it anonymous, as as such. It could be a more personal thing between you and I. And tell me what's going on, man. Get into it with me. Lately, I've been squeezing stuff out of people in my personal life. Someone over here is having trouble with their best friend. Someone over here likes a girl that has a boyfriend and is stressed about the whole situation. Somebody over here, it's like everyone has problems, and we all know that everyone has problems. But sometimes I feel like we decide that we're just gonna not tell anyone about ours, and I think that that's kind of selfish. I think that's kind of selfish. If I had problems, the first thing I'd do is let you know I'm keeping it real. And I do, and I'm sure maybe we'll get into them on this episode. I don't know. We have a lot of time left. But my point is, in these times where I'm not talking about mine, I'd love to talk about yours. I know someone who I think could benefit very greatly from this sort of thing. I know someone who, I would love to hear what you think about, and it's not some sort of defeat ritual for you to even declare to yourself that you have a problem. I think people build these structures in their minds when it comes to I've decided I'm not going to share this problem or not. It may not be a problem. I think people create these safety pins where it's I go this amount of time without doing this thing, which is sharing. And I find, but through this amount of time not sharing, I've found this weird reason that it makes sense that I did this, because we're always thinking in patterns and we love to tell ourselves that what we're doing makes sense. Trust me, we do. So I just want to argue that I don't think whatever reason you've come up with for why you may not want to share is valid. I mean, what could it be, right? I don't want to waste someone's time. Who are you to decide what's a waste of my time? I'm telling you right now, it wouldn't be a waste of my time. That was a ripping motorcycle. You might be thinking to yourself, oh, I don't maybe if you're extremely an intelligent person, you might be thinking oh, what would I get out of that? What would I get out of someone else's advice? They don't know my situation. To know my situation, they would have to be me, and I would just end up frustrated because they wouldn't even know where to start. And I'm the expert on the situation. Why would I waste time trying to invite somebody else in when the only person that has even a hope of solving any of my problems is me? Bro, do you hear yourself? You sound just like me. Take a deep breath. Okay? Realize that you're not that special and you're not that intelligent. And just talk to somebody. Tell anybody. Open the camera. I mean, this shit really has been helping me out. The camera is awesome. The camera's dope because the camera's awesome because it's always paying attention. That my favorite part about the camera is it never, wants to talk about itself. The best part about the camera is it just stays on. That red light, as long as I keep it plugged in and the SD card wiped, I mean, I can go for, I can go for 6 hours before I had to swap an SD card or, this camera, it's up to me. It's how much do I want to push myself when it comes to talking through my life? And I love that I do this because I think we all struggle a lot with just the definitions of our own lives. And I think there's lots of things that have been proven and clung to by, I don't want to sound too pretentious with this word, but society, when it comes to these sort of stresses, education, work, family, money, all these things sort of help us, I feel, as people, assign meaning to what it is that we do. And I don't get me wrong, I'm not denouncing these things. Matter of fact, I think they're great. I don't think they'd be in the position that they are in if they weren't fantastic. I'm by no means saying that I think there are better things for us to attach worth to. I'm in no position to even begin that discussion. I just want to point out that I've noticed these things maybe sometimes serve this purpose. Maybe not always, but sometimes I think that we kind of get worked up and then we think it's okay because I'm working towards this job. Or maybe we get worked up and it's like, it's all right because I have something or I do something. I'm working towards something. And I've very much found that shoulder to rest on in this camera. All the time. I think there's an element of harshness that I had on myself before this that I no longer have. It's like it vanished into thin air. It was like before this, there was this little thing eating away in my chest of like, you're not doing anything, like you have nothing that's yours. You're not special, it's a little bit of the ego too, maybe. You're not like, it's like, what do you have to show for any of this? And this kind of emerged, and now it's like I'm pushing it, right? Because every month it becomes like, every month I find the new normal. Like I feel like I push a little bit more, and then I find the comfort in that new ledge. Like I post a little bit more, I post a little bit different, so, and then I just, what's better, what's next. And I think, I don't know if I even want to say that it helps, because who is to say? Maybe it's damaging, for me to cling to something like this. Maybe if it weren't for this, I would have found something else. Like, I just don't know. But I'm certainly thinking about it, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Gosh, I just said that out loud, and I thought I've definitely said exactly that before on this show. Like I've definitely said the words, but I'm definitely thinking about it, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I've definitely said that before. Maybe we should quote that. That's I mean, and I sort of like, I'm starting to see these months stack up like in my future. Like if I keep on like pushing to that next staircase, where might I land? And the answer is, I don't know. I mean, like 1 month, I might tell you guys, hey, listen, I've got t-shirts. This one says on the back of it, but I'm definitely thinking about it, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Keeping it real. One of them just has the JK logo for the JK show. One of them is the Keeping It Real logo. One of them's just like my face. Because I had somebody DM me on Instagram, asking me if I do freelance stuff. Now I found after I responded to him instantly, and I was like, dude, I'm not going to, like, I will film whatever you want me to film. Just let me know and I'll be there. I'm not going to take any of your money. And I feel like that was like second nature for me to respond in that nature. I'm never going to, I don't think I'm ever going to be the guy that, well, that's not true. This is what I'm trying to say here. It's like very much within my own like view of myself, whether or not I try to extract money out of this. For this particular example, I think what I thought was, well, this is one guy talking about one thing. I think it would benefit me most for me to do it for free, and when it comes to like word of mouth and experience, I don't think I'm that good at my craft yet. But then you think of like, well, On the other hand, I think of like merchandise, t-shirts, ways that I can start to poke and prod the bear of like, support me if you want to see this start to change in even crazier ways. Before, because it's gonna like, it's very much so like, if you work a job and you want to work up in the ranks of your job, it's a very, I would recommend you be proactive, and you try to take on what might be expected of you at the next level, where you are now. And it's like, currently I'm not a partner with any of these companies, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. I'm not, I don't, if there are any ads before any of my videos, the revenue goes straight to these companies. I don't make a dime. And that is, that is sort of like, I see it almost as like an internship. And during internships, sometimes you don't get return offers, and it's, I think sometimes I've thought like, oh, well, it's going to come no matter what, and don't think about that and just enjoy what you do. And that's honestly, that it's good to think that way. But then I also think like, when it comes to money and understanding how much I'm worth, like that's an aspect of this, if you want to call it a job, that would be entangled in that next level of achieving that partnership. And whether or not it's headed towards me or not, that's almost irrelevant in this situation. If it's something that I want, which, you have to be honest with yourself, it totally is, then I should begin to act like I already have it. So what do you think that I would think and do if I already had that partnership? Well, there would be a new tab on my YouTube studio page, earn. Right now when I click it, it just shows me how much more of all these stats that I would need to apply. But if I had clicked that apply button and I'd been accepted, then I imagine it would be like, I think I've seen it before on other people's pages. It's sort of like a video by video breakdown of how much earnings and if there's any copyright and if it's family friendly, like able to have ads on it. And so, imagine myself there, and then imagine what might start to happen to my mind after I over and over again read out certain dollar amounts on certain videos. Well, maybe I'd think, hey, it could be interesting if this isn't the only way money comes in. Why don't I sell something, for people that may be interested? So why don't I do that now? I don't know. I probably will. I might. I just think about things that I'm thinking about. Okay, let's switch up the topic. I want to talk to you now about comedy. I have this camera in my hand, and with this camera, it's a Canon R5, very nice camera. And with this camera, I have to. Hold on. Whoa. With this camera, I have to film an Instagram reel. I already have a portion of it filmed on my drone, but also along with that drone stuff, I have two little segments that I want to cram into. I want to cram this time. I think yesterday's video was like 2 minutes. Reel was like 2 minutes long. Today, I'd prefer more of like a 30-second stretch, so that gives me about, however I want to split it up, within the 30 seconds, just a little bit of time for a joke and a little bit of time for me to explain what it is that I'm doing with my goal, New York City. I stopped talking for a bit because I'm actually thinking about it. I'm thinking, well, what could I say today, right? Yesterday we looked up So I think I'm on like my fifth or sixth day of this, and the first 3 days, I just put a couple dollars in the pot, the savings pot. And then I got sick of the dollar thing, and I was like, okay, let's, like eventually I'm sure I'm going to get a paycheck, and I'll start putting in big chunks at a time, right? So now let's see what we can do today. Today we can explore the idea of going there initially for school and maybe grabbing onto routes that way. And that was intriguing. I think I sent 2 emails to 2 different schools advising teams, asking for meetings. Haven't checked for responses yet, but I probably will do that. Checking for responses could be part of my, I don't know. And then yesterday, I figured out when my lease ended in the year of 2026, which is about a year from now, which is July 23rd, 26th. Shit, I already forgot. One of those 2 days. And then I ballparked how much a train ticket would cost. And the answer to that is in between $75 and $200. So that was like, okay, what I did today was I figured out how much a train ticket will cost, and I figured out when my lease was going to end. So what to do today? How can I get closer to New York City today? I'm not sure. I don't know. What feels right? I thought when I went silent a couple, maybe a minute ago, I was thinking, well, I could pledge a certain amount from my paycheck this Thursday. And that could be, and I think maybe that was me being like, okay, let me get it over with. Okay, so let's leave the New York City thing alone for a second. Let's talk about the joke that I have to tell. I was going to get this done before I started keeping it real, but I just simply put didn't know how to be funny. I don't know. Like, how do you think of a joke like that? So here we are. What makes something funny? Is it about the audience? Yes. But by default, are there certain things that could get a large majority of, Americans to laugh? And that's a big demographic. So that in that way, you can kind of forget about the audience. Like, no, it's not just my Instagram following as a specific. It's more of like everyone that I ever come across with in this country. I don't know. What is funny? I think funny is, it's important to be funny. It's important to be funny, and I wonder what is funny. So yesterday's joke, I think what I did is I really zoomed in on this like hypothetical moment, and I used lots of descriptors. And it may be engaging storytelling, yes, but is it, does it incite laughter? I'm not sure. So how do I make you laugh? Well, it starts with, what do I say? I think to begin, it could really help for me to find a state that I'm in, right? Like yesterday, I was very animated in my joke, and I'm just not too sure that that's the right path for me to begin on. I think as I continue to tell jokes, it may help for me to consciously enter a specific state. Now, I think that this state would be best suited as one in which I was a bit deadpan, and I'm skeptical. I'm hesitant to sort of define the nature of my comedy. I don't want to say, oh, I'm a deadpan comic, because there's plenty of those guys out there and they're hilarious. Nothing wrong with that, but it's just like in the beginning of something like this, telling a joke every day, I want to stay away from saying like, oh, this is the box that I fit in. I don't mean deadpan as like a comedy style. I mean I mean more constant. I want to start slipping into, or thinking about slipping into, a state where this is, I'm a comic now, and my only goal is to hear others' laughter. I need it like I'm addicted to it, right? So I got to slip into that state. Slip into that state. This is what I think a good joke would be. I'm not sure how many of you people have heard about this. There's one of those kind of sketchy. I guess maybe it's not sketchy. How do I say this joke? Okay, so I look at the camera and I'd be like, so they got this coffee place where the ladies that'll serve your coffee, they're wearing bikinis. And that's fine and that's good. But then there was this guy that would come to the drive-thru and he wouldn't have his pants on. And they caught him one day. He ended up killing himself. Now, with this, I don't want to tell this joke anymore because like on my Instagram there are like family and friends, and it's not family friendly. But like I don't want to be family friendly. Like I know that that's like probably a good move, like money wise, I guess. Like or just, but like I don't want to be family friendly. Like I don't know. But we're gonna have to keep it PG for Instagram. So what should I say? A good joke might be, I woke up yesterday. I had a crick in my neck. I was definitely getting into it in my dream. I think there was a Roman gladiator, maybe the Colosseum. And before the fight, I feel like we were in the locker room and like Zeus kind of was like, "What's up, bro?" And we kind of sized each other up, And I probably got him pretty good, but I feel like probably the night before, maybe my robe dropped at the wrong time. Probably ended up in jail on accident, of course. When in Rome, right? But a night in jail, kind of leaves you not too much sleep. Get into an altercation with a guy like Zeus. Fist lands in the wrong place. That's the kind of thing you wake up with a crooked neck. Is that funny? And I don't think it was very friendly either. Because why am I talking about my robe dropping? What the fuck? Okay, let's try again. You got food groups, and then you got goldfish. I don't know which one of y'all invented goldfish. It's more of like a lifestyle. I eat a goldfish, and it's like I'm underwater with a harpoon. Looking for that next pull the trigger, and right when I pull it, bang. Sometimes I really feel like, you can change it up. Maybe you're in the Caribbean. That's that cheesy, the extra cheese goldfish. Or maybe you're in like a redneck kiddie pool, but for some reason there's fish in there, right? That's that pizza flavored goldfish. Or maybe, you balled out and you're out in Europe hunting for koi fish, even though they're endangered and all that. You don't care. That's that pretzel goldfish. Not sponsored. I think that was funny. I think that was funny. I think we stick with the goldfish. I think the goldfish is good. But once again, there's not like a punchline. I kind of take you along on this goldfish journey, but there's no like. It's like I feel like a build up with no release. It's tricky, man. I don't know. But I think that's what we're going to go with, the goldfish thing. How am I going to remember that? I have no idea. But I think that's funny. I think the goldfish thing is funny. I think maybe we can spitball some more flavors of goldfish, and maybe we can break through from location to like, because I like the harpoon thing, because I really do. I feel like I'm scavenging, even though it's like the stupidest little cracker, right? It's like a juxtaposition almost. What I don't want to start with what's the deal with goldfish. That's very like Jerry Seinfeld. Bro, that's the thing about this is like I also want to make sure I'm not stealing anybody's flow. I feel like I'm very keen to steal like Theo Von's flow, like Mr. Say whatever, I don't care, just laugh at me. And that's just all I know. It's not my fault. I'm just going to keep on doing me and consciously doing me. So I think this goldfish bit is pretty good. I like the goldfish bit. I think I'm going to say like, they got like, there was Nickelodeon. No, I don't want to talk about that. What do I want to say here? Just grip you on the goldfish. A handful of goldfish will have you thinking. I like that. A handful of goldfish is going to have you thinking really hard. You look at each one, and if it's that kind of day, maybe a fall afternoon, it's Thursday, you're going to eat them things one by one and let each one of them dissolve on your tongue. And, you put one goldfish on your tongue, and it's like you close your eyes, and there you are in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. You got that harpoon, rubber-powered extendo gun, with the giant shoes, the flippers, and you're looking for the next, your next fish that you're going to take to the surface and fillet and cook for dinner. And it all happens, and you put that savory salmon in your mouth, but the whole moment is condensed into that one goldfish dissolving right there in your tongue. And it matters a lot. You can go different places in the world through goldfish, I've found. You've got, maybe somewhere in Europe, maybe you're hunting for eels, and you got like that big metal cage around your head because the pressure is real tight, and you didn't need that thing, but like, it looks cool. That's pretzel goldfish. You put a pretzel goldfish and maybe you crunch it one time. That's where you can go with the pretzel goldfish. Maybe you want to get a little bit more loose, more chill, and maybe there might not be any fish in the kiddie pool that you find in your neighbor's backyard, but hey, man, you got flippers. All right, you can go for a swim. Who's going to stop you? That's pizza goldfish. You're maybe just maybe, you don't even want to go in the water. You just got a fishing pole and you're on a charter boat, and you just won the lottery. And, the sun is setting on the horizon and you're reeling in the biggest swordfish of your life. That's where you can get to if you put the extra cheesy, the flavor blasted goldfish on your tongue right here. I like this. I think that's good. Probably I actually don't want to interrupt keeping it real with this joke. So I'm gonna I'll let it rip after this camera turns off. But I think that's good. So now, New York City. How do I take a step towards New York City today? What does a step towards New York City today look like? I think a good step today would be to kind of think about, okay, well, I'm thinking about school, but it's also important to think about if I'm not accepted to any of the places that I applied to. In that case, the financial burden of the first, it's going to fall solely on my shoulders, money-wise. So in that event, I think it would be good to have a plan B, which is, obviously a job and all that, but I think first comes how much is the cost of living? Or maybe we want to start on the other end. How much am I willing to save? Because it's tricky coming from a place like this, Raleigh, North Carolina, to New York City. Money is a little bit different around here. The cost of living is just way less. And that's not because, it's a worse off place to be. It's more because there's just less people in this area. And that's just the way economics work. So a dollar goes further here than it does in New York City. And because of that, discrepancy, I think it might be more beneficial to begin this discussion with how much money am I comfortable with saving? What's a good goal to set? What's a good goal to set? And I think a good goal to set would be like, I'd like to have, I don't know, $5,000 saved up. Is $5,000? I don't think. Could I make it happen with $5,000? Or maybe 10,000 might be. But 10,000 is I think would be really pushing it. I think to save $10,000, I would have to be really on my A game for this entire year. Only buying food. That's literally all I would be able to spend my money on. Food. After bills, it would just be food. And then I think maybe I could get to $10,000. And $10,000 in New York City is like literally only like 2 months of rent. Like, you see what I'm saying? So if that's what it takes, it's kind of like trying to flesh out and understand my trajectory. How much, I think that this is kind of, it's becoming more clear now that like, for this to really happen and make a lot of sense, I really need to take advantage of the account in which my parents opened for me before I was born, where money can be taken out tax-free if it's for my education. And only if it's for my education. So when I realized that this conversation starts to get a bit overwhelming, like $10,000 was like be a year of blood, sweat, and tears here, and would only be able to last me maybe 2 months if I was very diligent in New York City. I mean, I know for a fact I went through like $5,000 in 2 weeks, like, so how do we proceed here? I was going to say, if this gets overwhelming, then you want to switch back to like, okay, let's focus on going entirely for school. Okay. So I guess now our focus lands back on, okay, what about those emails that I sent? Can I speak with an advisor? And the answer is probably going to be yes. But let's, bring it back. Obviously, I'm not going to speak with them today. It's 3 a.m. So what, so okay, what can I do today? I'm not gonna I'm not gonna make a full budget plan or set a big goal right before bed. So let's keep it simple. Let's pledge some money from our paycheck Thursday. When Thursday comes, let's set a number. I mean, how many hours do you think I worked these past 2 weeks? Not a lot. So my paycheck's probably going to be around like $500, $400 maybe. Which is nothing. So maybe let's, I'm still in a spot where I don't have to pay bills. They're coming. They're coming. I think this coming month is my first month of bills, and I've, told my boss I'm getting ready to gear up with the shifts. So I don't think $100 is crazy. It may be a fourth of everything I make, but I think it's good. Good number. It certainly will more than double my current pot. I think I have like $48 in cash. So for today's New York City push, I'm gonna pledge $100 from my paycheck on Thursday, and I think that that's the right thing. Can't get into anything too deep. I mean, I can't count myself out. It's like I have found that yes, sleeping through the night and waking up early is a goal of mine, but so is a billion other things. And I think I can work towards both of those simultaneously. Some nights I'm honest with myself and I'm like, okay, right now, I want to finish this because I want to go to bed. So that's what we're going to do. And then some nights I'm like, okay, well, it's unfortunate that, we're here now doing this at this time. But I think what's really important now is that I give this my absolute all, regardless of the hour of the day. So that's the extent of the thought and the process and the being. So there we go. So look, this has been extremely productive, this Keeping It Real episode. We have first and foremost came up with a joke. I like my joke today. I think it's very unique and it's a step in the right direction. Do I think it's going to get very many laughs? No. One or two people might smile, but I wonder how good I might be at this in 2 years. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I'll get better. And then we figured out how I'm going to get a little bit closer to New York City today. And this fall, and then we fall right back on how I sort of started this episode. I feel really damn good about everything. I just feel I feel so good that I want to be telling you about it. Damn, dude, everything seems to be going relatively smooth. I feel a sense of control that I think I have been lacking. And I know you're never really in control, but it's just, I don't know, man. I just feel what about New York City? I watched a video, I think today, about how they have a housing crisis and rent just keeps going up. But I can't explain it to you. No matter how many ugly things you hear about New York City, if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. And it's we'll put it this way, if you put a human being on a pedestal, you might run into some problems. If you decide, hey, this person is just amazing, I don't need to see any more. Anything else I hear about them, I'll be able to twist into my own narrative that this person is awesome. You may run into some trouble. But I've yet to run into any trouble for my absolute love of New York City. And I I'm not saying I won't. I may look back at this period of my life and think like, why did I care so much about going to a place that I barely even been and just heard about? Like, why didn't I appreciate what I had in Raleigh? I do, okay, I do appreciate what I have in Raleigh. But then again, maybe I'll look back on this time and think like, I'm so proud of myself for listening to what I felt like in my stomach and just doing it without a second, without a second thought, question, anything. That city calls to me, man. That city calls to me, man. It's like I can't even. I don't even understand. It's like it's like it beckons. Like it. I feel a gravitational pull at all times to the buildings. I mean, you can see it. You'll as I continue to use this drone, you'll see what I film and how I film it. My eye, it's like it feeds my eye, and it's like after all I've been through and all the ways I've cut off the things that have brought me such happiness, I deserve eye candy. I feel like I deserve like these buildings all around me, because I think they're just so, I think that it all comes together and it's all this concrete and history. And I just want to be there. I want to live there. I mean, I get kind of like, I don't know, I don't want to say like depressed or anything, but like this apartment complex, it's cool. Don't get me wrong. I love this place. I love where I live right now. I love this city. I love it. I love it so much. I was gonna kind of bash on it for being like maybe like synthetic feeling, or like there's no character, but like it has plenty of character. I'm in love with where I am right now. It's so awesome. This building, this porch. I talked about this porch in yesterday's episode. I am the biggest fan of this porch. We are gonna do, as long as the weather permits, and I think as long as it's not pouring down rain and windy, these episodes will continue to happen right here at this spot, because literally, if there's studio lighting, like if it's not daytime, there's studio lighting, and if it's daytime, I'll be lit as well. And it's just the best spot to be, because there's a roof over my head. I'm on the 3rd story. I get to be outside. It's spring going on summer. It's just like a no-brainer. A no-brainer. It is a no-brainer. And, if I can get around to doing these in the daytime, which I think that's probably in my near future, there'll be a little bit of aspect of this show of like, what if my neighbors walk out of that door? What if my roommates come and go? Like, that could be interesting for the viewer and listener of Keeping It Real. Just like little appearances of special guests now and then. Dude, if you're out there and you're smoking weed every day, you're drinking every night, I know that you like have this idea of how much better you'd feel, but it's a bit disconnected from your routine, because you just can't, I get it. It's not that you just can't find it in you. It's just that it's just kind of what you do. You smoke, you drink. Like, it's not a big deal. I don't think it's a big deal. Matter of fact, you could do it for the rest of your life, and I don't think there'd be a problem at all. I wouldn't think of you any differently. I often say to people and myself that, yeah, I smoked weed every day for a long period of time, and then I stopped. But the only difference between me now and me then is that now I don't smoke weed. It's just kind of like, I matter of fact, thought that it would solve a lot of problems, when in reality, the only problem it solved was just that. It was just I smoked weed and then I didn't. Everything else stayed a problem. If you got a problem with girls, you got a problem with school, letting go of the weed is not gonna, it's not gonna magically fix everything. But I'm coming up on 2 years now without it. And I just want to tell you how good I feel in my body. And listen, that's in this sense. Like, I'm just now starting to walk and run every day. I'm trying to eat better. And I'm very much like, there's lots of fat in my stomach and like fat other places. And like, I'm very out of shape, you know. But when I think about it in the sense of weed and what that was doing to me, you have no idea. When I think about it in that sense, I feel brand new. I feel like I got a new lease on life. I mean, I feel like healed. Like you truly are going to get to that point where it's like, wow, this really made the difference. It's all about perspective, man. It's all about the lens you put it in, bruh. It's all about how you think and what you do and who you are, man. Dude, this has been, guys, this is what I'm talking about. This episode, golden. Why? Because I feel awesome about it. This episode of Keeping It Real will go down in history, episode 122. This is fantastic. We did so much in this hour. We crammed it all in, and it's coming to a close right now. Our final, 5-ish minutes. And I just want to say how amazing I felt this episode has gone. What do you think? Mom, you're probably wondering, like, should I leave a comment on this one? My mom told me she's like, she worries if she should comment. She says, like, I listened to an episode and I really like it, but then I don't want to comment on everyone, just some of them. And I listened to her say that, and I'm like, Mom, what are you talking about? Like, who cares? Like, Mom, who cares? If you feel compelled to leave a comment, and leave one. If you don't, you don't. But I totally get it, to be honest, Mom, because like I deal with that kind of thing all the time. It's like, maybe it's simple from my point of view, but like if I was you, I totally like get that sentiment of like, should I not, and like it's that little game that you play. It's like, that's just kind of how it goes. But I bring it up because I saw your comment yesterday, and every time I see that you comment, I always smile because you are my mama. What an episode, guys. So let me describe to you my perfect day tomorrow. My perfect day tomorrow would be finishing all of this stuff before work. I have work at 3 p.m. I'm going to get to bed probably around, I don't know, 1.5 hours from now. So, I'll get enough sleep, and then it will be noon, 2 hours before, 1 hour before noon. And if I can get up when I wake up, then I will have enough time to do all this before work. And after work tomorrow, this is why this is ideal, because after work tomorrow, I'm going to come hop back on the game with these guys. I don't know if I ever mentioned it, but we're I know I mentioned it, but I'm not sure I mentioned like what exactly we're doing. We're all connected on LAN. Our computers are in the same room, and we're trying to beat Minecraft. Also, tomorrow night, Judd and Elijah are coming to stay with us. So it's going to be very packed in this house, very fun, very like vibes. So like, it'd be nice for me to get this off my plate early in the morning, so I'm not sat here at this same time tomorrow. But you'll never know what will happen, and I give myself props because yesterday night I was doing this later than I actually am tonight. So we've made an improvement. And we'll see what we can do tomorrow. Thanks so much for listening and watching. I've been your host, jackkadis. This has been Keeping It Real. I'm going to go film my Instagram reel now. And you know where you'll find me tomorrow. Peace.